Hello again, Jackson here. Welcome to the channel. Nice to have you as always. You know that I'm a little bit of a block theming fanboy, right? However, I'm always pretty robust at calling out the shortcomings, also offering a solution to fix them. And we're not here to talk about responsive design in native block theming. Oh no, we're not. We're here to talk about something else that is underperforming in my view, and that is the native block menu system stroke navigation block and the shortcomings in that respect. Well, let me tell you what I think. I mean, I'm actually pretty cool with it these days. I can pretty much deal with it most of the time for simple sites, for simple menus. But when you start getting into a little bit of, right, I need a mega menu for that, and the mega menu doesn't work with block themes, or I need translation on that menu, it's not straight out the box with block theming and the navigation block. And the massive one for me, the biggest one in actual fact, which is what this video is mostly about, is the mobile experience. Now, yes, you get a mobile menu, little panel that opens up in the default WordPress core offering, but it's just a little bit lacking. And for probably, I don't know, at least for, 2 years, maybe 3 since block theming, I've always used a different approach to the mobile experience for the mobile menu. Anyway, more of that in a little bit. So those are the issues. So what we're going to do about it, we're going to bring back the classic menu, you know, when you see it under appearance menu, because all my clients love that, especially if they've experienced it before, because it's just so easier to manage and it hooks into those aforementioned other plugins. And we're going to give a complete makeover to that mobile experience. So here we go. This is what I do every day for all my client work. It's block theme menus and the mobile experience done right. Right then, shall we get cracking? Got a basic site set up here, got a menu going on, a few different pages, etc. Let's have a look at the back end. It is a pretty vanilla install apart from the pages, bit of media. Blank block starter theme is installed. That's a free download from me if you want a brilliant little bare bones block theming starter site. That's what you need. Link is in the description. Look at our plugins here. We've got quite a few. This is the one we're on about for the first part of this demo. Classic menu in navigation block. So this will allow you to get classic menus back and then apply them to block navigations. Show you how to do that. Plus there's a couple of extra bonus balls here, because by using classic menus, it means all those plugins that hook into classic menus you can use again, like multilingual menus or something like Max Mega Menu. You get me? Okay, let's get that plugin turned on, activate, and you can see now under appearance we've got menus. Yes, we have. We can create a new menu, main menu, make it our primary. It comes with these 3 locations, which is kind of cool. Of course, you can add more. Create menu. Let's get all our pages in our menu. Grab all of those, add to menu, home, about, services, blog contact, just like our current menu. Save that, and we've got a classic menu now. It's not being shown anywhere. We don't have menu positions. This is not a classic theme, so we've got to apply that to our blocks. Let me show you how. If we open up the editor and we go to our navigation, and you can kind of see here that this is why it's confusing. So you can edit it there, you can click here and edit, and that's just like the plain navigation without much going on styling wise. Or you can go to your front page and click that and then go to edit that. That's the header template part. Or you can go to patterns, which we ended up on because we've come back from a pattern, and we go to header, and we can do it that way as well. See why it's confusing? So let's have a look at this nav menu. This is what I built for the demo site, all in blocks, as you can see. And with the plugin install, we get an extra little setting down here. Look at this, classic menu. We can assign our new primary menu to that block menu, so it kind of overwrites the default blocks that are in there. Very cool. You see it's got a little icon now. Let's save that. Just so we know this is working, I'm going to take contact. I'm going to put contact up there. Save that. Back to the front end. Refresh. Look, that's our classic menu sorting that out. So that's really cool. And I've actually implemented this on some block sites that had block navigation for clients that used to use classic navigation, and they are literally falling on their knees with gratitude. But like I said, it's got other benefits as well, like being able to use menu plugins, and translation is a ton easier. Okay, so that's the quick one. The other one is this, and this is the mobile experience, which, to be fair, is quite cool. I mean, you can see it on my site. It's exactly the same. That's a classic default, but my site's not huge. Well, this one isn't huge, and it works. And I'm kind of fine with it, if I'm honest. But yeah, you can add buttons and you can add social icons and stuff like that, but you can't really build out a real designed experience. And if I get a design to build, 100% it's going to have more stuff than just a list of items in it. So yeah, perfectly fine, but you can't really do much with it. So my approach over the last couple of years is binning that off the default modal for default block themes and actually using a pop-up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, a pop-up. You can use any pop-up you want, and today I'm going to go back to one of my old favorites, and it is, if we go back to our plugins here, it is the light modal block. This fella here did a tutorial about this last year. Link is up there and in the description. Brilliant block-based pop-up, absolutely epic, so lightweight it's insane. We're going to use that for our mobile menu. Let's get that activated. So the first thing we need to do is create a pop-up. Now, where that pop-up goes, because it hasn't got like a separate interface, lots of pop-up plugins will have like it'll be a big admin menu going create a pop-up here, which is kind of fine. Don't mind that too much. But with the light modal block, that's got to sit on the page normally. Well, we want it across the entire site, so we're going to have to put it somewhere else. So if we go back to our editor, we're on that header. In fact, we'll keep that open and just jump into the editor from here. And we go to our pattern. We want to get that in the footer. And to do that, we're going to create a template part, not a pattern, a template part. And this is important because for whatever reason, it doesn't work with just a straight pattern. So if we had a template part called mobile menu, keep it in general, add, here we go. Let's get our modal block in there. Excellent. Get a header for menu, make that a bit smaller, and then we're going to throw in our navigation. There we go, and we'll just do the old it's vertical, and we'll just change it again with our classic menu option back to primary. Doesn't show when you change it here, by the way. It notes it here. It will on the front end. We've got way more work to do yet. Under navigation, we're going to add after and put in maybe some buttons for more info. Duplicate that, another CTA, and then underneath that we'll put in something crazy like like a cover. Maybe it's a CTA to buy a t-shirt or something. Let's get that kind of sorted out very quickly, and we go, I'm on sale. And we'll make that really big and bold, and maybe another button underneath it. And it's buy me. Get that aligned in the center. Maybe we'll make that cover also square, aspect ratio square. So we've got quite a lot of action going on here. I mean, probably need to tidy this up a bit, get some spacing here. That should do it. But we can't see it anywhere because it's just on a template somewhere. It's just on a template part somewhere. We've got to trigger it. Well, how you trigger this particular modal and most other sort of pop-up plugins is that we go to our main settings here. We want to trigger this on the selector mob menu, and it will be a CSS class. So if we put that CSS class on a button, on a bit of text, on an icon even, that will trigger the pop-up to open. So if we save that, just take a copy of that class, save that, but we haven't got it anywhere. This is just on an independent pattern, a template part. So let's get back to our footer, and remember what we were going to do. We were going to add underneath our footer the actual template part for the pop-up, because we want it site-wide. And of course, if you had different footers for different places, then you've got to add them elsewhere as well. But if we go and find our template part, there we go. Choose our template part. There's our mobile menu. Perfect. So that's cool. Our pop-up is nearly ready to go. We've got it in place. We just need to get an icon in the menu, in the header, to actually trigger it. So let's get back to our header. And after our navigation, we'll add after, and it's going to be an image. And that's going to be this very handy hamburger icon I've got in my media library. And we can just make that a little bigger, save that. And remember, the trigger needs to be that class. So we add the class to that. That should be us all done. Let's have a look at the front end. Refresh that. There's our hamburger and there's our pop-up. Little work to do on here, but essentially that's it. But let's start with getting things showing at different screen sizes. Remember, this is only for mobile. So if we just take off the mobile view, because obviously we want this showing, we want the main menu showing at a certain breakpoint and the icon hidden, and vice versa when we reach that breakpoint. So if we actually just go back to mobile view, and there's the breakpoint, and it is, let's have a look, 798 is the breakpoint. So we want to show the menu above 798, and we want to hide our new icon, and we want to hide the horizontal menu at 798 and show our hamburger icon. And we're going to do that with a little bit of CSS, and don't be afraid, all the code is in the description for download on my freebies page. Let's have a look at the CSS. So, or actually, let's have a look at the plugins again, because I've got my site plugin here, another free download if you want some other goodies. Site plugins where you can add just a bit of code randomly to a site. I mean, if you're building a custom theme, you can just put it in your theme CSS. But if you just want to put code or what have you into any old site, this is great. Say you're having to install a snippet plugin with all the garbage that comes with most of those. Activate that, go back to our VS Code here, and this is the plugin. So it's got PHP, we want to add some snippets or whatever there. And you've got some custom CSS to add. Now, what we're talking about here is this. I'm not going to type it out for quickness sake. So let's take you through this. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom one because it might make more sense to you. So we are saying then when the maximum width of the screen is 798, I want to show the elements with show 798 that have the class show 798. And I don't want to show anything with a class of hide 798 at that screen width. So 798 or lower, this shows, and that is display none. And for that, and for the one that's showing, well, clearly we don't want that one showing when it's above 798, which means this is why we have the min width media query here. So that one starts off as display none, which means that that one doesn't show, and as soon as it hits 798, it does, and that one disappears. Right, let's get these classes in. Let's get these classes in. Where's my... So it's show 798. So back to our header, which is here. So that's the one we want to show at 798. Space for more classes. And this navigation here is the one we want to hide at 798. Get to our class again. Hide 798. And in theory, that's all that needs to happen. Code is in the description as a link. Save that. Let's see if that's working. So what are we on? 798. Not working. Oh, did I save the... I didn't save it. Hang on. Save that. Right, that's cool. That's gone. Okay, that's gone. That opens and closes and shows and hides. That's brilliant. See if that's working still. It is, but we've got the menu collapsed for the menu that's actually in the pop-up. Let's get back to that. We can jump back this way and go to our mobile menu, and all it is that on our menu section here we use the regular controls to just turn off any mobile collapsing stuff. Okay, save that. Let's double check that on the front end. That's more like it. Excellent, excellent. Right, a couple of things here. I want this to be full width, and it's pretty straightforward. This div here with this main modal block class on it just needs to be whipped into shape. I mean, you can see that all the classes, all the stuff, the heights, the max width, all this sort of stuff, we want to get rid of that. And I've got another snippet of CSS here for you. Bring that up. Height is, I want it 100% or 100% of the view height, so the window, and the max height, because that's going to override the plugin settings. Same with width and max width. Let's give that a go. Save that. Let's give that a go. Reload that, and our modal is nice and full screen, which is cool. Don't like this scroll bar thing going on here, so let's get that sorted out. And I've got some more CSS for you here, but it takes a little bit more thinking about, because you've got to think of different browsers have different parameters for scroll element. Let's get that in there, save that. Front end refresh, back it goes. Cool. Okay, great. Scrolls, no, let's make that a little bit smaller. Actually, let's get that onto a phone. Here, phone. There you go. Too small. Scrolling if it needs be, and we are all good. Already a much better experience, and you can literally put anything in there. I probably would want to get to our modal again, get that, and do a little tweak on the size and on the block spacing. Save that, and that feels a little better. Right, so that's that. Now, that's how you get like a really useful, much more feature-rich mobile menu experience. We're done. You go and download the code, go make it happen. But there is an issue with the block menu still, especially on mobile, and that is, if we go back to our menu, let's go to Appearance Menus. If I just get in a ton more just random pages, duplicate a load of pages, when we start getting some really heavy hierarchical stuff, that is when it really starts to fall apart. I'll show you what I mean in a minute. And please don't take any notice of the random pages, but you can kind of see, I mean, that's not that kind of hierarchy of submenus is not too ridiculous. But if we go back to our front end now and give that a little refresh, look at this now. So this is how blocks work out of the box, and I mean, it's just not, let's just make that bigger actually, it's just not good enough, and yeah, you can do a lot of work with CSS to actually just make that feel like a much better UX and a bit more intuitive, all the rest of it, but it is literally as annoying as it can get. I mean, look, it's just unusable essentially. So shall we sort that out? Yes, we shall. Right, another plugin ready to go is the pretty decent, and this is how I actually implement it. I've got tons of sites with this configuration on, especially big sites with that massive hierarchy, like WooCommerce sites and stuff like that. It's, you've just got to be able to manage that better. And that is the WPB Accordion plugin. Been around for donkey's years. It's probably one of the only ones, the only go-tos there is. So let's activate that. Another good one is Bellows is okay. Bit more heavyweight. This one is really lightweight. Right, so let's see what we've got. Now, a bit of a disappointment. They have the main plugin link in the main admin, and let's go to it. We're going to add a new accordion. It's going to be called mobile, and we're going to go and edit it. Our main menu is already assigned actually. This is the free version, and it's, obviously they are wanting you to upgrade, but there's no real reason to. On the free version, there aren't many settings. It's whether or not you want to close the expansion or not. And also the only style options here are light or dark, essentially. Let's save that. Let's grab the short code. You can also put it in different stuff, and there is a block for it, but I want to use the short code. Copy that back to our mobile menu. So we're going to get rid of this, our navigation, and we are going to put in a short code. There you go. Save. Let's see what we got now. Refresh, and hey, check it out. I've got 2 homes. Yeah, so a little bit messy. I'm just going to nip over to the admin and tidy up the menu so it actually looks like it makes sense. 1 second. Right, so back, let's refresh that. I've actually made some sub pages and stuff, so you can see this is actually more reasonable of what it should look like. So we've got like a lovely accordion menu, and we can drill down. Some of them have subs, some of them have subs of subs, that kind of thing. I mean, it's probably about 1,000 times better than the default. We need a little bit of styling here, so I've got that for you. We want to take off the border here. Let's go to our CSS again, and I've got your little snippet here for you. And this is all pretty, slapdash style. Of course, you can spend time crafting. Let's get that in, refresh that, and just makes it a little bit prettier. I mean, you can do other stuff. That icon could be a bit bigger or smaller, whatever you want. You can maybe make the sub pages, menu items, a bit smaller, that kind of thing. And there's one that always bugs me. If we close and open this, I'm a bit funny about this. If you open that and the close icon is way over there, so let's just inspect that, and it's that button there, and we just sort of throw a bit of padding on there, maybe 20px, get it get it more over so it's in line with the opening. So the open and close is in line. Oh, not quite. Let's get that a bit like that. Obviously, fiddle around to your heart's content, but there you go. That, my lovely WordPressers, is how I do mobile menus. Links for all that code is in the description. Download it for free. Links also for all the plugins we spoke about and all the other info. And if you want a bit more block theming info, here's your next video. But until next time, I shall see you later.